Well, hello, it's Kathy and Ruby Renfield. And finally, we are going for a ride on the Royal Enfield Hunter. So we've got the new mirrors installed, we've got the levers installed, I've got the Garmin Zumo installed, the saddlebags are there, and all of the other little bits and pieces. So this is the first ride that I'm recording riding Ruby. So we are heading to Saddlers at Mount White, and Saddlers is a kind of a restaurant, but it's on land and it has a beautiful little pond and a garden centre and a couple of little areas there where people have their weddings. And the ride to there is through quite a few twisties, and so I'm doing the ride with Fee, who I've spoken about plenty of times before, but also two new people, Tracy, who is on her P's, and she's riding the Honda Rebel 500, the same as Fiona, but hers is blue. Fiona's is a beautiful red Merlot colour, and her name is Merlot. And Vanessa is riding I want to say a Suzuki 250 something, but I could be wrong about that. And she is on her learners, and this is the first time that she's done a bigger ride. So we're heading up through a Carryong Hill, and this is the first time Ruby has been up here. So, it's a bit getting used to sort of thinking about what gear I should be in to climb up a little mountain or a little hill, and coming down the other side. But we did fine. I was the lead for this ride, so I had the route mapped out on the Garmin Zumo XT2, and I kind of knew where I was going anyway because I'd been here before, but I certainly hadn't been here on Ruby. But it's the same direction as when I went to Pie in the Sky on Rosie Vesparina a while back, so I kind of knew where I was going, which made me fairly comfortable being the lead on the ride. What I find being the lead on rides is it's actually a lot of pressure and a lot to think about. You've got to be at a pace that is comfortable for the person that's the least experienced in the group, so that you don't leave them behind. There's always traffic lights that you can get stuck at, or that you can get through, but then the others in the group don't get through. So you've always got to make sure that you find a spot to pull over so that they can catch up. And that happened a little bit on this ride, but it wasn't too bad. So I kind of kept checking the mirrors for 3 other helmets behind me. But what I did find that further along on the twisties, that is a lot harder to do, because once you've gone around a twisty, around the bend, you can't see what's behind you. So I think the easiest method in that case is, I look for the helmet behind me, and then that person looks for the helmet behind them, and etc., so that we can all sort of know where the other one is. But here we are going up Carryong Hill, staying in the left-hand lane so that we are allowing the faster cars to come past. I think I was doing the speed limit though. I just think that, it's such a popular hill to get over that people go a little bit faster because they know it so well. If you do the commute to Sydney, this is the road you usually do out of, Gosford, so most people know it. Once we get past these next traffic lights, which we've just done, we're going to turn right and head out along Wiseman's Ferry Road, and then a quick left to get on the old Pacific Highway. It was a glorious day. You can see how there's not a cloud really in the sky. I was still a little bit cold though. It's moving towards, well, it's autumn-y now, so we're at the beginning of May. Oh, not the beginning of May, actually. This is the 9th of May, so it's a little bit fresh. I don't know if you can hear the engine. I don't have a mic by the engine, but certainly Ruby sounds very different to Rosie Vesparina. Here we go around to the left. And the first section here, I think, is 70 kilometers an hour, and then it goes down to 60, which I've spoken about before in the other video that I did, but this is considered the scenic route. Now, because it's the weekend, I expected that this road, which is very popular to ride to pie in the sky, would be chock-a-block, but it actually wasn't. It was terrific. I mean, there was a little bit of traffic coming the other way, but apart from that, it was fine, and we didn't have a lot of cars or any cars banked up behind. I think potentially because we met at about 11 a.m. and then headed off maybe about 15 minutes later. So maybe, you know, people that were wanting to do the twisty roads were already on their way, and so we kind of were in the lull between the morning crew and the afternoon crew, perhaps. But it was great. I wasn't behind anybody, and obviously there were 3 other bikes behind me, but from what I could see before we got to the real twisty parts, there wasn't many or any cars behind them, so that's terrific. It was terrific. This is also a test for the panniers, which I have shown you in the previous couple of videos. So they are not chock-a-block full, but I've tried to balance the weight on both the panniers so that it's even. And this is a good test for how that extra weight feels going around the curves and bends and things. And I'm happy to report, not an issue at all. I didn't really feel anything different about having them on the back, so that was good. Mind you, they're not very laden up with gear, so maybe that's why. So we've dropped down to 60 now, out of the 70 zone, over the bridge. I love a bridge. There's a rider there that we just saw. I went past on the left there. A bit further up he will zoom past, but that's fine. I also expected there to be a stronger police presence on this road. It was supposed to be a blitz weekend this weekend, so there was supposed to be a lot of police around testing alcohol and drugs and what have you, but we did not see any on this ride, so that was a bit surprising. In terms of riding Ruby Renfield as opposed to Rosie Vesparina, and kind of comparing on this kind of road where I'm riding a bit further distance and it's a bit twisty, Ruby Renfield is so much more comfortable to ride than Rosie Vesparina from the seat and back and butt perspective. I get a really sore tail end on Rosie Vesparina, and I think it's because I sit so upright on it. The pressure is on my tailbone, whereas on Ruby Renfield I'm still upright, but I'm just that tiny bit forward, and that seems to take the pressure off my tailbone and my lower back for some reason. So I can ride for much further distances. Oh, there's that bike that just zoomed past. He was flying. I'm pretty sure he was not doing 60 kilometers an hour, because I was doing somewhere between 50 and 60, and he zoomed past me. Anyway, that's okay. So I think the ergonomics suit me better on Ruby Renfield than they do on Rosie Vesparina. I also feel like when I'm going round the corners, I feel like Ruby Renfield is a little bit more nimble going around the corners. I feel like I lean a little bit more. I'm sure I don't really lean very much at all, but certainly feels different on Ruby Renfield as opposed to Rosie. I still love riding Rosie also, but I'm just kind of comparing the two. And obviously Ruby has a little bit more get up and go if I need it. But on these roads, when I'm doing 60 kilometers an hour, I don't really need it. I can ride Rosie along here at 60 kilometers an hour just as easily. Ooh, round the corner we go. Now, in exciting news related to Rosie Vesparina, there is an event that's held, I don't know whether it's held every year globally, but in Australia I think it's only held every 2 years, and it's called the Australian Vespa Days, and that is being held in Canberra in March of next year, so March 2027. And Marie, who I've mentioned before, we do riding together all the time, Marie and I have decided that we are going to go. So Marie has the Primavera, the 150cc Primavera, and I have, as you know, the 150cc GTS. So we have decided to go. We've brought our tickets and we are going to ride to Canberra. Hooly dooly. It's going to be quite the adventure. So Canberra from the coast is a long way. So I think because we don't want to do any freeways, we are going to try and do it back roads and things. It's going to take us about 7 hours of riding, which is too long given how much my butt hurts riding Rosie. So we've decided just to break it up over 2 days. So we'll ride there over 2 days, and then we'll ride home over 2 days at the end of the Vespa Days event. Marie's husband Sam is coming along, and he'll be riding as well. But obviously he has it's a Honda something 500, so it's obviously a much more powerful bike than the Vespas, but it is going to be a fabulous adventure. So that will be in March next year. What I need to find is some kind of pannier bags for Rosie Vesparina to be able to carry all of my clothes and bits and pieces. So I mean, I've got storage under the seat, and I have storage in that big Nelson rig bag that I keep on the back, but I also need some pannier bags as well to fit other bits and pieces. So stay tuned for that, but it should be a lot of fun. So we are still, look at how beautiful this road is. And the condition of the road is really good as well, but it's just so pretty riding here. I love it. I love it. And to think probably 12 months ago, I was petrified about the thought of riding to Pie in the Sky on this road. We're obviously not going to Pie in the Sky today. We're going to Saddles, but now I've ridden it on Rosie Vesparina and Ruby Renfield. The mirrors, I think I mentioned to you that the other mirrors, the stock mirrors that came with Ruby Renfield, had a lot of vibration at about 60, 70, 80 kilometers an hour. None of that with these mirrors. They have been fantastic. So this was a really good test for them, and they performed really well. Very happy with them. They are still Royal Enfield mirrors, but they're called the touring mirrors, and I think they fit a few different models of the Royal Enfields, but obviously I got these ones for the Hunter, but very happy with them. I realised that the camera angle around my neck means that you can't see my speedo. I'm not sure if you can actually see the screen of the Garmin either. That's not a terrible thing, but obviously when I film with Rosie Vesparina, you are able to see all of that a little bit better, but that's just the angle, unfortunately. Sometimes when I'm riding Ruby Renfield on these hills, I am not 100% sure about what gear I should be in. If I'm coming around a corner but it's a steep incline, I feel like I need to drop it down to third gear so that I've got enough oomph to get up a hill. But if I'm coming around a corner, for example like this one, which is quite a tight corner, it seems to be okay to stay in fourth, or sometimes I'm not sure about whether I should be in fifth or fourth, and I'm trying to go by the feel of the engine, the sound and the feel of the engine, because I don't have a rev counter, so I'm just kind of going by the feel and the sound, probably similar to what I used to do in my manual car that I had years ago as well. So just all takes a bit of getting used to. A few bicycle riders out today. It must be a hard yakka riding a bike on these roads, and must be a bit scary as well, because sometimes the cars and the motorbikes zoom past, and I would be very frightened that I would be collected if I was on a bike, a push bike that is. I wonder if the footage looks different in terms of the angles and the leaning on Ruby Renfield as opposed to Rosie Vesparina. Maybe I should try and do a comparison of them. I think they're probably pretty much the same. I don't really lean that much. Another bridge. Love the bridges. So the bridges are going over the top of the freeway that is going underneath. Every now and then when I was doing this ride, I slowed down quite a bit just to allow the others to catch up. Oh, there's another person that zoomed past. Just to allow the others to catch up a bit because, obviously they're taking it slow and easy as they should. And especially, if you're a learner and this is the very first time doing this kind of riding. So as the lead, I think it's important to, slow down and make sure that they are able to catch up and everybody's sort of reasonably close to one another so that you feel safe. Some of the trees have just, because we're moving into autumn, some of the trees are getting that beautiful sort of orangey colour in them, and they're just gorgeous. I'm getting very close to Saddles now. Saddles is a very popular place to go for breakfast, for lunch. I've been there for breakfast once before and maybe for lunch as well, I think. Lovely food, just a beautiful location. Getting more and more popular. I think it's possibly owned by John Singleton. He owns a few sort of places on the coast. We're turning off now. A lot of gravel in the middle there, so I did a very wide berth to get around it. And now to the left here, they look like they're building some accommodation, so I think that might be something that's associated with Saddles, that at some point you'll be able to stay there, which would be great. Great for tourism. And here we are, right turn into Saddles at Mount White. I just have to find a little spot now in the car park and we'll go and have a coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I'll have a hot chocolate and park up. Thank you for watching this first video with Ruby Renfield, and I'll see you in the next one.